several days. So let's first find out a little bit about you guys, where you guys are, what your background is, and why you guys wanted to create Reimagined Finance ReFi. Why don't we start with whoever wants to, I guess whoever wants to start to introduce yourselves, a little bit about your background, and we'll get into ReFi.
Let me start. Hi everyone, my name is Matt Royd. You can call me Matt. We started ReFi because we realized that FAS is the future. The model is there, the demand is there, and there's a product void that needs to be filled. There is a gap between this huge amount of wealth generated by DeFi 2.0, by yield farming and doing other things, and also and the gap is between that and the normal people who are not capable of doing that. Even if they know how to do that, they don't have the time, they don't have the capacity to be in the know, to just keep update their portfolio, to keep managing the portfolio, rebalancing, etc. So there is a need there. There is a product void that needs to be filled, and we are here to fill it. And we are here to democratize this huge amount of wealth generated by DeFi 2.0 to this large amount of people. That's basically why we started this project, ReFi.
Awesome. Huff or Digital, do you guys want to kind of introduce yourselves and what you do for the project and how long you guys have been in the space?
Yeah, sure. So I've been in the space since, I guess, 2013, maybe a little bit earlier. Was my first intro. Really got deep into it probably early to mid 2016, and really sunk my teeth in there. My background is in engineering. Been on the business side of the business a little bit more, on the ReFi team, kind of wearing a few hats, helping on the development side as well as the marketing and some strategy. And yeah, just to address Matt's point, it's the ideology behind ReFi is to help with the barrier to entry into yield farming and DeFi, right? So there's a lot of complex protocols and a lot of things you have to stay on top of to gain the value and benefits from these networks. And we know a lot of people don't have the time to keep up on it or have the barriers to entries to a lot of these protocols. So we think that ReFi does fill that gap where it allows, like Matt said, to democratize those potential yields for the everyday person.
Nice.
No, that's really cool. Yeah, well, what's going on, Huff? You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I was just picking up the baton from where Digi left that off, and this idea. We're called Reimagined Finance, and we really want to democratize access to these kind of strategies. In fact, the broader DeFi movement is one where you can be your own bank, and all we're doing is giving people the utility to be able to do that in a very accessible way. So my own background, I worked in traditional finance for 11 years, worked for a major Wall Street bank, and I was a derivatives trader. So deep in the pits of trading equity derivatives, which over time migrated to kind of multi-asset trading. Got quite disenfranchised with the traditional banking model, and that coincided with everything that was happening with DeFi 1.0. So this is kind of DeFi summer of 2019 when Aave and Compound came out, and ever since then I've kind of just been full-time crypto for the past kind of 2 years, and yield farming and investing in all these different protocols, and essentially just playing with a lot of these protocols has been quite lucrative on a personal level. And then I joined the team as the lead farmer, overseeing a lot of the investment strategy.
And so walk us through. So it's you three gentlemen, and what else is the team made up of? How many are you? And maybe you can tell us a little bit about kind of who's all on the team and what they're doing and stuff like that.
So yeah, the team.
Oh, Mr. Digital, I think you
Sorry.
kind of cut out there. Yeah, no worries, man. You want to start again?
So the core team is probably, I don't know what's going on with my,
It's okay. You want to try? You want to try again?
yeah, this push to talk button just keeps kicking out.
No worries. Yeah,
So
just try to give us a rundown, and if it messes up again, we'll just we'll move on to a different question maybe.
yeah, so the core team is about 8 people, but we're really building out. And we have an extremely well-balanced team. I think that's one of the differentiating factors in the space with ReFi is we have people from all facets. So I'm sure you've heard Oshi on, if you guys have been some of the spaces, Oshi's really taken over some of the strategy and community management. We have a bunch of different admins that are working with other roles. We have partnerships with marketing agencies, but from a core team, we're looking at about 8 people, and then we've added some other advisors as well. So probably I'm guessing around 15 people. I don't know the exact number, like close internally, and then we have partnerships that we have with other corporate organizations that are taking some of the work as well.
Awesome. And where can people kind of keep up with the team? You guys have a Discord or Telegram. What's the best place for people that are wanting to get into ReFi to learn about it, or people that own ReFi? What's the best place for them to kind of keep up with the team and what's going on in announcements and stuff like that?
So Twitter, Telegram, or Discord as well. Our Telegram is extremely active. It's Reimagined Finance, Reimagined FI, and same with any announcements that will be made on our Twitter. And you can find all of the social media links on our website just to make sure that you have the correct rooms, because I've seen some other rooms pop up that
Scam rooms, basically.
Yeah. So some of those copycat rooms have popped up. So just make sure you go to the website and click those socials to make sure you have the right ones.
Awesome.
And that's reimagined.fi is the website.
Awesome. And then I'll share some of the links too after this with our community, so they have it all. Let's start talking about the project. Why ReFi? Have you guys known each other for a while? Why did you want to create ReFi? And I know you guys have been you launched, I think, on the 15th of December, and you guys have had some tremendous growth over the past couple weeks. Maybe talk to us a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes, if you guys have had any troubles, things like that.
If okay, I can take this one. So by way of context, we're not the first farming as a service provider.
Yeah.
Although we do believe that we are leading in terms of transparency and communication. But there have been other players in this space, and the whole space is really new, right? Like 45 days since the first one launched. And there have been multiple rugs, people creating these kind of fast as a farming as a service plays, and then just pulling liquidity. And unfortunately, some of the founding team were part of one, which did end up down that route, and there was a trend of that happening. At the same time, me and Math are actually 2 members of Developer DAO. As well, so there was already a sense of community and connection there, and ultimately between the core team, a discussion was had at the end of one of those unfortunate events about creating something really different in this space and really focusing on the farming as the core utility behind what we did. Because and I don't want to pick specific projects, but there are projects where it's more of volume as a service as opposed to the farming being the primary kind of utility that we're providing. And so when the few of us got together, Math was the one who was really happy to be fully doxed. And obviously in this community where there's so many issues with regards to trusting a project, having a public dev with a GitHub profile with 10,000 followers on Twitter, who's also doxed his LinkedIn, is a huge comfort. So for me, on a personal level, having known Math in the Developer DAO community as well, I got a lot of comfort joining him and this core team of people like Digital Dealer who were very vocal in some of these other fast projects, that we had a core team of people who really understood the space and understood from an investor's perspective what we wanted to build. The thing that we thought we were investing in it turned out that it wasn't that, and we wanted to build ultimately the product that we wanted to invest in ourselves.
No, and that's great, guys. And so having a doxed member on the team is extremely important because, just as you said, there's been a ton of scams, a ton of bad actors out there, and to really have somebody that's kind of like your front person that is well known in the community, that's a huge step up. I also saw that you guys also have a CertIC audit too. Can you walk us through when you guys got that done, and were there any issues with the audit?
So certain audit. It's we got the preliminary result at December, like end of December. We just got we resubmitted the report, and basically the issues were about centralization. It's Certic cares a lot about being fully on chain and decentralized, and we are not fully decentralized yet. There are still a lot of centralization to our platform, to our ecosystem, and we deliberately picked that because of like we have to balance, right? We have to balance between um, decentralization versus user experience, since I think those two are still not very compatible yet. So we are comfortable with this position right now. We are happy to be a bit centralized, but we are giving users the best UX possible.
Yeah, walk us through. So somebody walking in off the street, they buy the ReFi token, and what do they do from there? Do they have to, I know you guys have different marketing strategies, and you can claim different rewards. Walk us through what somebody can expect. Buying the token. What happens then for that person? What do they need to do? How do they participate? Can you walk us through that?
So yeah, once you purchase a ReFi token, to enter into the reflection pool or to claim reflections, you have to have a minimum of 10,000 ReFi tokens as of right now. So if you hold over 10,000 ReFi tokens, you will begin to gain reflections. So just to quickly drop over the the tokenomics of ReFi. Right now, we have 5% of the buys and sells going to reflections. We have 5% going to the treasury, and we have 2% that goes to liquidity. So once you own the tokens, you will have a dashboard on the website. You connect your MetaMask or your wallet through Web3, and you'll be able to see your token balance and your dividend balance. Once you see your dividend balance can be claimed at any time, and there's two ways to claim it. You can claim it through ETH, which is just a transfer gas fee, which is extremely cheap. So you can just claim your ETH, it'll transfer the ETH from the contract to you. Or you can compound it as ReFi, which we'll do right through the website. We'll do a Uniswap transaction and convert the ETH into ReFi and add it to your current ReFi balance. And the other 5% that goes to the farming, that goes into Huff's asset management and is allocated to different protocols on all around the ecosystem, and the proceeds are then distributed as dividends as well. So there's two main sources of dividends. One is the 5% reflections from the buys and sells that get immediately distributed to holders, and the second would be the profits from farming that get distributed as dividends to holders too. And those are distributed at currently at treasury milestones. So our first one, we hit about 100 ETH. We distributed 40 ETH to the community. Then we hit
one more time, digital. Then you hit what?
Sorry. Then we hit 100, distributed 40 ETH. Hit 250. We distributed 50 ETH to the community, and our next milestone will be at 500, I believe.
Awesome. So real quickly, just so people know, so right now Reimagined Finance is about 9 cents. You need 10,000 tokens to kind of participate, so that's about a little over $900 currently right now. And the project, when it launched at about a half a penny. And so these guys have really done an amazing job. It's basically about a 20x from where they started on December 15th. Just want to let people know that.
Yeah, and we're working on some stuff in the background with that 10,000 tokens, just so no one's left out in the future. But don't really want to touch on that until we're there. But as of right now, yeah, you need the 10,000 tokens.
You need, you need 10,000 tokens to participate and to claim, right? Yeah, no worries. We got that. I think Johnny has a few questions for you guys really quickly too. What you got, Johnny?
Fellas. So I'm not gonna lie. I've been researching a lot of projects lately, and when I received yours to research, I came at it kind of with a chip on my shoulder. I researched so many projects recently, most of them DOS projects, where teams will say, "Okay, we're going to farm and we're going to return the yield to the user in some manner." And normally, what that is entailed to when I get into their farming strategy, it's like, we're going to buy strong nodes and split up the yield, or we're going to buy ohm and split up the rebases, or something like that. And as we've seen, most of the projects never even get to that stage, and a lot of them have rugged recently. So with yours, I was pleasantly surprised. I started to follow your farming strategies, and I got to admit, you guys are legit. Your farming is done very, very, very well. It's better than what I myself do, and I would be in a position where I would actually trust you guys to farm with money, which is very rare. So I want to congratulate you gentlemen on that. You're one of the first projects that I've seen recently that's actually true of. So congratulations, fellas.
Thank you, Johnny. And sorry, just a comment there, just to reiterate what I said. We're building the project that we thought we were investing in when we invested in some of these other rugs, and that's really where the passion comes from.
I think you're exactly right. I mean, I think when I thought, I'm not going to say the project names, like we all know who we're talking about in here, but some of these recent projects that people have sunk a lot of money into, what they said were what that they were going to do is exactly what you gentlemen are in fact doing. And I love the transparency. Also, I follow your Twitter personally, um, and I really appreciate how open you are about what you're doing with the community's cash. There are a couple questions that I had that I think some people wanted answers to, and I'll get those out of the way. One of the things we've seen is kind of a flight off of Ethereum mainnet due to high gas fees for transactions. What was the reasoning behind staying on ETH mainnet? Was it a liquidity depth feel? Were you just comfortable there? What was the reasoning behind that as opposed to something like Phantom or something like AVAX?
Yeah, I think there's two main reasons. Personally, when I see projects, I always like to see them like initially, I guess, anchored ETH first, like start off on ETH, just because the security associated with ETH is just so much higher, right, than some of these other chains, and also the capital on ETH is a lot more liquid and a lot more accessible compared to some of these other chains. So I think those were two of the big deciding factors.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think a lot of times people go to smaller chains. I love Phantom, I love AVAX. But when you talk about how much liquidity is available there, you're talking about hundreds of billions versus a few billion. And sometimes I think people misunderstand what a project can actually get to in terms of percentage of the total liquidity. So it's definitely a valid strategic choice. And once again, I think you guys made a good call there. Uh, when we talk about farming specifically, I know when I farm my own stables or whatever I'm doing, whatever liquidity pool I'm involved in, one of the decisions I always have to make is how much to take profit on or how much to take out and move around, rebalance, versus how much I want to leave in to grow my farm bag. How do you guys balance that? What's a percentage or what's the process like that you determine how much you're going to return to the users in reflections and how much you're going to use to continue to grow the bag?
Sure. Again, I can take this one. So whenever there is a buy or a sell order, there is a tax which goes to all the holders as a reflection, right? So that 5% is automatic, and that's the reflection aspect of the token. So that is fixed, it's written in the smart contract, and it appears in people's dashboards. So if you were to see 100 ETH ticket, then the treasury would the reflection pool would get 5% of that, and then your percentage of the pool would increase your dividends accordingly. with regards to the farming, which is a bit more interesting, that's where we've paid 2 dividends out already. So once we got to 100 ETH in the farm, we paid a huge dividend of 40 ETH. Huge in the context that it was a big percentage of the farming wallet at that time. Now, the reason why we did that was to really reward our early holders who had been through quite the journey in those first 10 days, and to really show that we are committed to this project and we're committed to the farming aspect of that. A lot of that 40 ETH that we paid was from profit as well, because we did have some very early success in 1 or 2 investments. So that was the first one. And then thereafter, and you can appreciate this, there's a trade-off between compounding and growing the farm and taking money out of the farm and paying dividends to the holders to keep them happy. So on the one hand, me as the person who's leading the team of people that oversee the farm, I want to grow the farm as much as possible. Many investors understand the rationale for wanting to do that and to scale that. On the other hand, you do have some investors who want to receive their dividends. And so we decided, rather than have fixed dates in mind, like every 2 weeks we'll pay a farming dividend or every month, instead, what would be in the best interest for all investors was for us to hit certain thresholds with regards to the farm size. So once we hit the next milestone, which was 250 ETH, at that point we had about 70 ETH of profit in the farm, and then we paid a 50 ETH dividend at that stage. And again, the rationale for doing that was to give back to the investors exactly what we had promised, which is we will take the Ethereum that you use to invest, we will farm on all these multiple chains, and when the strategy is profitable, we will return back that in the form of dividends. And so today where we're at is the farm is about 470 ETH at the moment. That's despite all the market volatility and the fact that we've paid out 90 ETH in dividends. I think once we get comfortably above 500, we'll have a conversation about distributing, but it's discretionary when we send the farming dividend out to holders, but we communicate quite clearly the thresholds that we're working towards. So it doesn't come as a complete surprise to investors.
That is one of the clearest and most concise explanations that I could have asked for. And once again, it's very refreshing to deal with people who are actually doing any type of farming and who are actually returning any real yield to the users instead of just, kind of paying it forward with newer users' money. So once again, I applaud you guys. When we talk about the reflections, which are basically the automatic portion that's going to come to the tax, it's going to be distributed amongst the token holders. How is the number of reflections that you receive determined? Is it just based on a percentage of your whole, what percent of the total ReFi tokens you hold? Is there an algorithm? How do you guys determine that? Or how does the smart contract determine that?
Yeah, so it's your percentage. So essentially what happens is for every token sent out, there's a dividend tracker sent out as well, right? So let's say I transfer tokens from a wallet to a wallet. What's going to happen is the dividend tracker is going to be burned, it's going to be sent to null, and it's going to recreate a new dividend tracker for the next wallet. That dividend tracker is your percentage of the overall tokens, right? So if you own 1% of the supply, then you get 1% of the reflection pool, whatever that is, in real time. Now,
There for a second, brother.
Yeah, Digital, do you want to try? You said now, I think you were trying to finish your thought there.
hold on, this button's.
It's all good, man.
So the dividend tracker is important because there's also portions of tokens in circulation that don't get dividends. So like the Uniswap pool, whatever's in the Uniswap pool doesn't get dividends. So you're actually getting more, if you own 1% of the tokens, you're actually getting more than 1% of the rewards pool because those tokens don't get reflections. Or if we turn the tokens off in the treasury like we had, those tokens don't get reflections as well. They get distributed amongst you. If there's any tokens burned or if there's any soft burn tokens, then those don't get reflections as well. And those reflections are directed back to the network. So the easiest way to describe it is that it's your percentage of the pool minus any other tokens in circulation that aren't getting reflections, i.e. the Uniswap pool.
Fair to say that your percentage of the pool, the number will always be either that or greater, correct? There's no way for it to be less than that.
Yes, it will always be equal to the percentage of tokens you own versus total supply, or less, or greater. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the other things when I was examining your tokenomics is I noticed that it looks like you have a 1 billion hard cap. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So one of the options is to either claim my rewards or distribution, however you want to call it, as ETH reflections, or I can roll it into more ReFi. What happens to that second option once all of the ReFi tokens are held? I mean, you can't mint new ones. How will that work?
Well, theoretically, the price would be infinity at that point, right? There's
Sure,
always
that's
someone
true.
willing to sell. You know what I mean? The pool will never be drained completely. It's always a percentage of ReFi tokens. It's just when you get to that point, each token is going to be worth a lot more money.
That's a theoretical question that the answer is it'll never happen, right?
Essentially, yeah. Like it's never going to happen. Like when I'm not sure exactly how many decimals ReFi can be broken down to, but you got to think of when you're talking about percentages of a token as well.
It's 18, by the way.
Sorry, did you say 18? Math?
Yeah, correct. 18.
Yeah. So now if there's 18th power of a token left, it's still worth something, right? So theoretically, that will never happen.
I think that's all the questions from the community that I'm going to ask. I'm ready to let anybody else that wants to ask, they can get up here and ask it for themselves. Do you have anything else, Sensei, that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of great questions always come from the community, and I'm sure there's some members here that have some questions for these guys that like to get answered. So let's open it up, and then also, guys, if there's something that maybe we haven't asked you that you think is very important that you want us to let everybody know, let us know now, or bring it up sometime. But definitely let us know if you have any questions or anything like that. But we're opening up to the audience. We'll bring a couple people up on stage here. But if there's some stuff that we haven't asked, like I said, just fill us in, okay?
Yeah, one of the things I just want to touch on quick is one of the big differentiating factors with ReFi versus some of the other fast projects is we pay our dividends in ETH rather than the native token, but we give the option of compounding into the native token. And the reason why we did that is because it's a hedge against the native token, right? The ETH is going to be a hedge because the native token can be a lot more volatile than ETH. So that's a hedge against it. Plus, it decreases sell pressure on the native asset because there's a lot of people that will get the reflections and keep their principal and sell the reflections. That doesn't happen with ReFi. They can just claim it as ETH and then use their ETH as their profits. Now, the option to claim as ReFi is also an interesting option because you have this pool of ETH and you can claim it as ReFi. So when things happen like a big sell or a big dip, the community is sitting there essentially with dry powder and ETH to compound into ReFi because a lot of them typically want to compound more into the network. So you have this price support floor with everybody sitting with dry powder and dividends that when dips do come, they get eaten up really quick because they're just compounding their claim to ETH into ReFi. So it's a really unique mechanism that was developed to kind of create this floor price support on a constant trajectory upwards.
No, that was very, very intelligent that you guys put that in there. And just so it's basically like if I have 0.10 ETH sitting in there and I want to claim ReFi, that'll essentially be if ETH's at $4,000, it's 0.10. It's basically $400 worth of ReFi that I'll be receiving. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you'll pay the gas fee. It'll be market value, whatever market value is. It just routes through Uniswap, but it sits there until you claim it. So when a dip comes and you're like, okay, time. This is the time to compound. So it gives you control over the compound. It's not an auto compound, right? So if we're going in a parabolic movement and you're getting an auto compound like some of these native tokens do, you're getting that auto compound at that pricing, right? Where this you can choose at when you compound, which gives you a little bit more variability and gives you potentially more value if you time it correctly.
No, that's brilliant, man. That's great. Lancelot, what's up? Do you have a question for our ReFi team here?
Actually, it's something I just tuned in and I don't know where you guys are, but I wanted to ask you a few days ago. You were talking about a back-to-back about Secret, and I happen to have some of that, and I wanted to know what you discovered, or I haven't seen anything since.
Is this a ReFi question or is this something else?
No, it's not. And like I said, I just chimed in, so I didn't even know what you guys were talking about.
Yeah, sorry. This is a ReFi AMA. Why don't you message me later, Lance?
All right, thank you.
Thanks, bud. All right, we're bringing somebody else up on stage. It just takes a second. And then, yeah, guys, if anyone else has questions, feel free to raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage and you can ask the ReFi team here. Omba, what's going on? What's your question for the team? Just got to unmute yourself, Omba, and then you can chat. All right, while we're waiting for Omba to oh, here we go. Did he figure it out? All right, we'll bring somebody else up on stage here while we're waiting for Omba. Osu, Milkman, can you unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, hey, how you doing today?
Good. We can hear you, brother. What you got for the team?
Awesome. Hey, for the team, I just want to say hello again. I've been following them for quite a few AMAs now that they've had. I think I came in around 2 cents, limped in with my little bag. But it's been a fantastic ride. I love everything that they're doing. I did have one question for the team. There was talk earlier about eventually getting to a different chains like Phantom or Avalanche or whatnot. Is there any thoughts or conversations about the way right now how we either claim an ETH or claim in a ReFi, that once the project can reach the level to go to Phantom or Avalanche or Solana or whatever, would we then be able to claim in a different blockchain or a different coin instead of just claiming ETH and ReFi? Could we end up claiming ETH or Avalanche or ReFi as we branch out? Thank you.
There's been a lot of internal discussions in terms of chains and what we want to do there. I think right now we're focused on ETH and we're focused on growing the farm. That's our focus in the short term. Longer term, we are looking at other chains. Nothing definitive yet has been decided, but we really want to focus on growing the farm and growing ETH and talking to some more. We've been in discussions with VCs because obviously moving to another chain, it's a big cost in terms of liquidity, right? We're close to 100 million cap right now. So to kind of pull that across to another chain is going to be a pretty substantial investment in terms of liquidity. And it's something we're looking at, but right now we want to focus on our initial community on Ethereum and focus on creating value through the farming protocols with them right now. So that's our main focus in the short term. In the medium term, yes, it's on our radar.
Cool. Yeah, I really appreciate the answer, and I'll just give a quick plug for anybody that's listening, that's wondering about jumping in. Like I said, I'm just that guy on the couch that was folding laundry on AMAs, asking questions. Like I said, I limped in with my my little bit. I ended up with actually like 7,500 ReFi, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know you needed 10K. So I was like, oh, I went to the wife. I was like, look, I believe in this project. I'm scraping together more, and we're making this happen. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I got to make it happen. And boom, here I am. And I'm in it, man. Diamond hands. So appreciate all that you guys do. And I'm in it for the long haul.
Great to have you, brother. Thanks for your question.
Thank you, Milkman. No, that's great, man. Hey, sometimes the best ideas happen when you're folding laundry. So, that's really good. While we're waiting for Omba to figure out how to unmute, I figured I'd ask you guys what kind of partnerships you guys have going. Are you guys working on any exchange listings? Can you kind of walk us through what's happening behind the scenes in discussions on that kind of stuff?
So yeah, there's a lot happening in the background. I think at ReFi we're really focused on not really releasing news until it's solidified. There's a lot of partnerships being discussed, and there's some that have already been locked down that will be announced shortly. But we just in terms of exchange listings, we've been approached. There is discussions. We just want to make sure we have the right architecture to kind of facilitate the same mechanism we have right now.
Cool. Where do you guys see ReFi going in the next 6 months? I mean, do you guys, what does the roadmap look like for you guys, and where do you see ReFi in 6 months to a year, I guess?
I can answer this from a kind of farming, investing numbers kind of perspective. So currently our market cap is at 100 million market cap, and the initial idea behind having 1 billion tokens was to always have 1 billion tokens worth $1 each. So $1 billion valuation, and not mess with any of these inflation aspects to the token or whatever. So you've got 1 billion of ReFi tokens, that's the max supply. And we also put a cap, a hard cap at 2%. So any wallet can only ever buy 2% of the supply. But the idea behind that 1 billion number was very much that one ReFi token would be worth $1, and we could build this $1 billion business, which for me, from a farming perspective, if I think about the exponential growth of the farm from the initial deployment of 15 ETH to where we are today, 20 days later, where we've got a 500 ETH farm, as the volume comes into ReFi, and as the opportunities in the farming space just grow, because there's more and more protocols being launched, and there's more and more incentives being launched for capital and liquidity, we're very confident that in the short term we can get this farm way above 1,000 ETH, and get to a position where we're managing money not just for retail investors, but also more institutional level investors as well. So to expand on the point that Digi was making about partnerships, where I'd like to get to is managing the treasury of some of the bigger DAOs as well. People who have ETH in their treasuries and need to optimize that. They can't just have it sitting there losing 5-10% in a bear market. They need to do something with that and optimize the yield on that. And there's plenty of conversations which I can't go into now, but ultimately ReFi would become this kind of investment manager for retail and institutional size tickets, all within the ReFi umbrella.
That would be huge, man. That's like music to my ears right now. I think I need to go try to buy some more ReFi. That sounds really good. And as far as new opportunities, do you guys put a vote out to the community about like new farming, things that you guys want to get into, or is it really kind of decisions are made by the team, and that's what you guys are gonna kind of stick to?
So for the moment, right, our initial allocation was done like this, where I put together a proposal of low, medium, and high risk strategies, and we actually put that article out to the community and asked for feedback, and we changed some of the allocation percentages based on community feedback. Community said, look, let's go a bit more into stables, there's too much uncertainty, etc. The opposite end of the spectrum is having a fully decentralized DAO style governance for farming, where anybody has an input into how farming is done. Now, that's not necessarily our USP. Our USP is that we've got me and the team, and I'm looking to hire a farming associate in the coming days. Our expertise is in this farming space. And to the extent that the community has great ideas, you can jump on the Discord anytime. I live on the Discord farming strategy channel, and people can ask me, they can say, Huff, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that protocol? And 100% we consider all of those if we're not already looking at them. But for now, I think the value proposition is very much that you put your capital with people who know what they're doing in this space. It's not just me, there's other people helping us out, there's other advisors, there's other people that are working for me in a more junior capacity, and we'll manage that for you. And that's very much our kind of USP at this point in time. But we're open over time if the community feel like they want more input, especially as the farm size grows. Once you've once you're managing 10, 20 million, it's a lot different to managing 2 million as of right now. So that would be my kind of short answer, which is we're open to all opportunities. Right now, our USP is very much on farming as a service and us being the experts in that.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, just my perspective as an investor. I'm on the team, but as an investor in ReFi, the whole ideology behind ReFi is to democratize the value, right? So essentially, if you're coming into ReFi, it's because you don't have the knowledge or the capabilities to take advantage of some of these protocols and yield the value. So what would a vote do essentially in that situation, right? So the value is coming from having competent people that understand the space, know how to navigate it. And one of the big things I said on the spaces as well, it's not only seeing where the value is, it's knowing when to de-risk. And Huff's done a great job. Like I believe we sold Crown at the top before he's seen the market taking a shift, right? And a lot of people, especially when you have a DAO style governance, you don't have the flexibility to do that quick enough to kind of make those anticipations, right? Maybe it's something we can move to in the future, but as of right now, I think the value is in the team being able to have the knowledge and the flexibility to make those moves to optimize yields for the short, medium, and long term.
Absolutely. And I'll just add to that, as someone, like I said, your project was brought into our team and I looked very thoroughly into it. The value here is a value. This will be a funny analogy, but it's kind of like a pirate crew, right? The crew is going to split the loot that you're going to get, but the captain has to be in charge of calling the shots. You can't have too many chiefs, not enough Indians. You cannot have a bunch of people trying to make decisions. The entire point of the project is that someone very knowledgeable who has a lot of experience will do the decisions for you, and you get to basically sit back, hodl, and gain with the project. It's outsourcing all of the mental stress that tries to come with timing projects and moving your money around and rebalancing, which quite frankly most people who have full-time jobs just cannot do. And outsourcing that to someone who can do it much better and who's willing to share the yield with you. So democracy is excellent in terms of receiving the shares, but it's not always a great idea when it comes to having to make quick decisions. So everybody out there who's looking at the project, understand that you don't want to over democratize that process.
100%.
No,
That comes to Digi's
great,
point
great point.
about being nimble and quick to act.
Yeah, no, that's a solid point, and trust me, Johnny looks at I don't know, I probably send him 30 projects a month to look at, and very rarely is he very, very impressed. So that you guys should really take that as a good sign, because often it's like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Very rarely is Johnny out in front saying, man, this is pretty awesome. So you guys have done a fantastic job. Real quickly, Omba, still trying to get you to unmute, my friend. I hope you can figure that out. Also, to anybody in the audience, if you want to raise your hand to come up and ask a question, please do. Until Omba figures out how to unmute, we're going to go to Crypto Grasshopper. What's up, Crypto? What do you got for us?
Hey, brother. Hey, team and everyone. I'm looking through the stuff here, pouring over it, and I understand how we just had every, 10 different places going through these DAOs and these money makers like Midas. And on your page here, with all these in mind, we conclude that we will put the remaining capital in Minus DAO. That's great and everything. People were putting it in Jade and Hector and all these other ones. And then they all went down, and you've got the price here at $334 in the market cap, 31 million. But as of today, as you keep going down, if you hold this for the runway of 56 days, it goes into $739,000 as the example. But today it's $49 for a crown, and that's what that's a lot of these places that just got done putting their money in. Like, I was just curious how that's gonna work, because already it's down. So your example of going to $730,000 with the money that's being put into this, project when these DAOs go down, just like Midas has, from $330 to $49. What's the hedge against all this stuff? Because it's everywhere and it's eating up and killing projects.
Yes, I can answer that very firmly, which is we actually sold out of Midas at 397. We de-risked and took off 35% of our position, and there's an entire article which has screenshots of my conversation with MathDroid, as well as our rationale for de-risking from Crown. So we put that trade on at inception. I think we invested a very small amount. We invested maybe 10 or 15k at that stage. It went up a lot to around 100k, and we took off our initial investment and profit. So anything that we had on Midas DAO was just profit at that point. So for us, we're up on the Midas DAO position. In fact, we just doubled down at 23. So if it's at 50, I'm very happy right now.
All right. So
There's
when
an
was
entire article talking about how we wanted to de-risk from the more high-risk DAOs and why we did it, and our timings and everything. In fact, I'm sure somebody could circulate it here.
Oh, I see.
So no,
So
we've made money on Midas. In fact, we're making a lot more money right now on it.
I see. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Grasshopper. Are you guys are any of you guys working on any other projects that we should know about or keep our eyes on? Because you guys seem like you are a team that really knows what you're doing, and I'm sure a lot of people are interested if you guys are working on any other type of project out in the crypto sphere right now.
No, really, I just quit my job to fully commit to ReFi. So just I
Just
don't know
this
if anyone else. Yeah, just this one.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm full time on this project as my main project. I advise on a couple of other ones just to help out some smaller projects that need some connections. I think MBT is one of them, but this is my pride and joy right here. It's where my time is being spent.
I got you, brother. And I know Huff's probably just always slammed if he has to keep an eye on all these different projects that you guys are invested in. I'm sure he's full time in this too. Where do you see ReFi in 6 months? Let me go back to that question. I'm just curious. You guys are at about what, a $10 million market cap right now, being at about nine and a half cents. Where do you see this in 6 months? Are we at a 50, 100, $150 million market cap? Where do you guys see it?
So I'm not don't like talking price, right? Like,
yeah,
not financial advice. Don't like getting into the price discussion. I see this. My goal is to grow this to a $1 billion market cap in the short term, and I think it's doable. That's my goal, and I think most of the team as well, like Huff had mentioned earlier. But the one thing I will touch on is just think of the ideology behind the system, right? Think of where can ReFi go, right? ReFi can either go sideways, it could go up, or it could go down, right? ReFi goes down, more money goes into the treasury. That's going to be compounded into more money. It's going to be easier to get more of the network, and you're going to have a higher percentage of the farming pool, because essentially when you own 1% of the network, you own 1% of the farming wallet and the treasury, right? So if that happens, great. I get more percent. I can pick up more percentage of the network. I'm going to own more of that treasury, and it's just going to keep compounding. So that's where the value is, right? If it goes up, amazing. More money goes into the treasury, right? More reflections come into me as well. I'm getting 5% as well, and there's going to be more money compounded. Plus, I'm getting the appreciation on the token. If it goes sideways, and with some volatility, the farming's going to grow. It's not going to grow at a rate of up or down, but it's still going to grow at some rate, and I'm still going to have the same value I accrued in the asset, and I'm going to get the farming profit dividends long term. So as me as an investor, I don't care which way ReFi goes. It's all positive. It's a constant positive feedback loop that we've created to provide value. As long as the farming is being done in a diligent manner, which we've already shown a track record, more than diligent manner at the APYs we're doing, then it's got a positive feedback loop that just keeps feeding itself with price floor support. Dips are getting eaten up like you wouldn't believe, because the aforementioned downward trend, what happens there? So I think long term, I just see ReFi going, having a higher and higher barrier to entry.
No, that's great, man. That's really good to hear. Mob Dip, what you got for the team?
All right, guys. First of all, thank you for having this AMA with ReFi. I'm following them for a bit now, and it's just pure gold. Another thing, thank you, ReFi team, for actually enabling us normies or anons or whatever to take a part in what you're doing, and taking your time and sharing this with the people. It's really amazing. One question I have is, worst case scenario, what can happen to the investors if, let's say, um, shit hits the fan, or farms they just don't perform as expected? What is the worst case scenario for investors?
I can answer that. So I recently just put out another Medium article called "How It was Anatomy of a Trade and How ReFi Thinks About Risk," and we talk about two important points pertinent to that question. So all the vaults that we're investing in are liable to be exploited, right? Just like any protocol or any smart contract. And so there is smart contract risk and there is protocol level risk in the investments that we make. And so as part of our strategy, and we'll be formalizing this in an investment mandate, we never want to have more than 12% of the farming funds in any one protocol or vault. So we'd want to be in a position where tomorrow, if for some unfortunate reason, one of the big DeFi protocols like BFI or something like that was exploited and one of the vaults was drained, the maximum we would lose from the farm would be that 12%. And that's a point of diversification. The second thing I want to say on that is at least 50% of the farm is currently in stablecoins. So we're talking about USDC and DAI and things of that nature. And they're earning APYs anywhere between 20% and 100%, depending on the strategy we've got. Stablecoins don't move, right? The $1 US dollar C, which we put on a week ago, is still worth $1 US dollar C, even though Ethereum has dropped 10-15% in that time period. So then you've only got 50% of the portfolio that's exposed to mark-to-market risk. So let's take a recent example, right? 50% of the portfolio is not going to move because it's in stable coins. The other 50% of the portfolio can go down, let's say 20%. So now I've got 50% of my portfolio, the riskier stuff, which has gone down 20%. Well, that represents 10. 20% of 50 is 10, right? So overall, the portfolio has gone down by 10% in a 20% sell-off scenario. But our bets are placed in very strategic investments, and I do encourage you to read that article, How We Think About Risk, and one of the metrics is just not buying something when it's expensive. But I'm really comfortable that today the farm could take a 20% hit, and it would be a 10% hit on the overall portfolio. And what kind of cushions investors, and I've been reflecting on a lot, is if the market sells off like that, then volatility is our friend, because we get the volume into ReFi through the buyers and sell tax, and then we can just beef up the farm and go from there. So my worst case scenario is basically what I said, the kind of exploit of a vault is probably the biggest risk, which we diversify and spread.
And just to add, I just want Huff, if you could add one thing, just because you say it so well. Huff has a podcast that he's getting some alpha drip on, and has opened us to some opportunities. Could you just touch on that for them as well, how that's kind of affected our farming?
Yeah, sure. So when it comes to farming, we want to be early in our investments, because if you're early into an investment, you really mitigate your risk. Now, there's one way of being early, and that's knowing the right people in the DeFi space. So I started the podcast out of pure love and joy of doing this. And in the process, we've got some huge guests. So we've had 3 episodes that we've recorded already, and we've got another 3 coming up. And as you'll be able to see if you go on Apple, Google, Spotify, we've got some of the biggest names in the DeFi space. And the conversations that I'm having before the podcast and after the podcast are incredible, because they're telling me about protocols and trades that they're putting on a personal level in their alpha groups that they're part of, and I'm getting invited into these Discord groups. So I'll give you a very pertinent example, right? We've got a big position in Butterfly, so Redacted Cartel, and a big position in Liquid Driver. We bought our exposure to those things 50% ago. Sorry, 100% ago. Those investments have doubled already, right? So they would have to go down 50% for us to break even. That gives us a huge cushion when volatility is going on in the markets, because we got early access to that. It's a similar model to when you have traditional VCs. They get in early into an investment, they get in cheap, and therefore they're happy if there's a bit of volatility right at the top of the price range, because they don't care. They're so far away. Their initial entry price is so far away from there that the market can go up, down 10, 20%. It doesn't affect them. And that's really the kind of exponential returns we're looking for.
Man, I would love to be a fly on the wall in your freaking room, man. You probably have so much alpha information going through every day. I would love that. Anyways, did anyone else have a comment on that before we get to Mob, do you have a second question?
No, I just wanted to say thank you again. I definitely listened to your podcast and I read your mediums. Those questions were more because of the other people following, and maybe just to clear some doubts and to encourage them to invest. I'm already invested, and I'll be putting more into ReFi for sure. And I'm very excited about this. Definitely something that just came out of nowhere, and the whole concept seems like bulletproof. And let's see where is this going to take us. So once again, thank you all for this. It's I feel lucky to be part of all of this. That's for sure.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day. T Wolf, what you got for the team here?
Hey guys, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're a little light, but if you speak up a little bit, it'll be a little bit better for them.
Okay, I'll try my best. First of all, everybody says it, but I guess it still needs to be told. Thanks a lot to Matt and the team for this project. It's brilliant. Been invested, I think, from around 3 or 4 million cap. So yeah, it's been a brilliant ride. My question is more a follow-up on the previous, not exactly a follow, but a continuation, I guess, regarding the risk. So Huff just covered the risk of the farming. My question, and I'm sorry to be the guy to be asking this, is what is the safety nets or actions being taken against risk of how do I put it? Maybe a bad apple in the team. I ask this only because we've seen so many of these scams and hacks that happen, mainly also because of some guy in the team messing up or some bad apple inside the team. So my question, I guess, is what are the steps taken to prevent this? Or yeah, I guess you guys get the drift of my question.
Yeah, so I'll touch on this quickly. First, math is doxed, like IRL, so that's one of the big things. So there's a safety net there. In terms of the team, I think most of the team is well known in the crypto sphere and has names associated with them that I don't think anybody would want to muddy. Very well known between me, Oshi, Huff, and others on the team. Also, there's also a multi-sig in place for the funds, right? So no one person can have access to them. It has to be a team decision, and that multi-sig has to be signed by multiple team members.
That is correct, yeah. And I'm just gonna add more to that. First of all, thank you, T-Wolf, for supporting us through the trenches days. And yeah, we have the multi-sig, and we also have semi doxed to each other. Like I definitely know the people I'm working with. We are doxing ourselves internally. be it through like directly doxing or third-party doxing, but we are internally doxing to each other. So there's a safety net in that. I'm not sure whether we can or whether we will, if we can fully dox the other team members to the public, but I think having a pseudonymous, like a popular name linked to a project, it's a safety net in itself, like PG said.
Does that kind of answer your
Okay,
question, T Wolf?
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much, guys.
Nope.
I'll see you guys at 1 billion, I guess. Thank you again.
Yeah, hey, 10x is doable. These guys really know what they're doing. I'm very impressed. I mean, I talk with a lot of projects daily, and you guys really do have a very special team, and I think everybody should really take notice of that. Let's say there's a project listening to this, a DAO project, and they have a big ETH wallet, and they really want to put it somewhere. What is the best way to get in contact with you guys? How can these projects reach out to you? Is it on Twitter? Is it on Discord? What would you guys recommend them doing?
Yeah, I think as long as you have the right contact, either way, you can reach out on Twitter. We're all on TG. We're active in the Telegram. You can find us under admin roles. So any way you want to reach out, whatever's easier for you. I'm not super active on Discord personally. I'm not a huge fan of Discord. I don't use it too much. I'm more of a TG guy and a Twitter guy, but I am on it as well. And if you send me a DM on here, I will see it as well. But that's probably the best bet.
Awesome. And should they be reaching out to you, Digital? Are you the point of contact then, or is somebody else the point of contact?
If it's for a DAO, you can contact any of us.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter, but yeah, me or Huff is probably a good reach. We do have internal team members that their pure roles are to work with VC funds and injection capital.
Awesome. Guys, is there anything maybe that we haven't talked about that you guys think is important that we need to know?
Take a quick stab at that, if you don't mind, just from our perspective at Kryptonaires. Something that I want to put out there is when I evaluate a project, even when it comes to talking about doxed team members, when it comes to talking about worst case scenarios, even in the best of times, I never put too much value in that. I found that usually behavior is far more important in judging people's intentions than even who knows their names. I've seen so many rugs where people were doxed and the project's still rugged. Something that I look at is always the behavior of the people involved in a project. What are they actually doing? Because people can tell you anything, they can say anything, but the actual behaviors involved will give you a clue as to what's happening. There have been so many DOS projects, nodes as a service projects, farming as a service projects. And what you'll find is in almost all of them, in almost every single one, first of all, very little farming is actually going on. And when you research what their idea of farming is, it's something that any person can do on their own. Once again, buy into a DAO, buy into a strong node, buy into whatever. It's not a long-term strategy for success. And then secondly, what you'll find is that all of the value being paid out to users will usually be in some sort of tax on the project, or it will be with the tokens that another user is buying in with. You are one of the first projects that I've seen recently that is actually paying out farming rewards to users. That's one of the only things that made me feel much more comfortable about your project, was that is not the behavior of a project looking to rip people off. They would simply keep the money that they make from farming and pay users with the money coming in from reflections, and when that runs out, they'll claim that the project fell apart, sorry, and they'll leave with your money. So I would encourage everybody listening, whenever you're evaluating not just this project, but any project, always look at the behaviors they're exhibiting and not so much what they say. And I can tell you from personal experience, this is a solid indicative pattern that these guys actually intend to farm for you and pay you the dividends of that farm. They've been doing it so far, and there's no reason to believe that they would stop doing that. So yeah, great job, guys, and I'm very encouraged by what I see from your project. Not financial advice, of course, but I personally plan on on purchasing ReFi, and yeah, I think you've got a great thing going on here.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you said, and there's a big difference between, you know what I mean, starting a project and taking it to 10 million, 100 million versus $1 billion market cap, right? You're never going to get to where ReFi is going without the transparency, the trust in the community, and the knowledge to know how to do what you're doing. And I think those pillars were really, really, really important, and are aiding in our success there. And the community takes notice. If you're listening to our spaces, even on these calls, you can hear like not only the excitement, but the trust in the team. And that's because of A, our proven track records in the past, and B, our proven track records with ReFi. Like that initial 40 ETH distribution out of a 100 ETH farm was an extremely large risk for us. But we had to show our commitment to the community, right? Like chopping the farm in half was a very large risk early on with everything going on, but we had to show that we're committed to this and we're committed to you guys.
No, that's great, guys. That is really great. Anything else that we should know about the project, or anything else you guys like to say in closing? We don't have questions from the audience, so it's just kind of up to you guys.
I think I've said, I think I've touched on everything that I wanted to touch on. If Huff or Math have anything they want to touch on, if not, I think we can close her down.
I just want to add one thing, which is it's a real pleasure to work with this team, and I've kind of semi-doxed myself to Math, and one of the reasons why I'm comfortable to be on a project like this, despite somebody who's worked in kind of professional services for 10 plus years, is that there's a real sense of community. So I'd encourage anybody to join us on Telegram in particular, but there's always one of the core 8 members of the team who you can DM at any time, who you can send a Twitter DM to, etc., and we will reply back. And I just love that. You know, we're not up in ReFi towers doing our business. We're just down there in the kind of weeds chatting and in the chat all day long as well. So I really love that aspect of it, and it's one thing that keeps me motivated and engaged with the project.
Thanks, Huff. I want to add something more. And again, it's such a pleasure to work with this team. Like Huff said, it's mutual. It's from my side too. Like from this core team is super amazing. But one thing I need to add is community has been super amazing, super helpful, and the vibe is just so great in the Telegram. I have never felt I'm a degen myself. I'm into like a lot of Telegram groups, and I haven't felt this a group this friendly, this welcoming, this supportive to each other that ReFi had. Like you have to try it. You have to get in. You have to see the community. I'm so proud of the community. Like when we were at the trenches, like 2 million to 4 million market cap, the discussion there was super fruitful. Like discussions about technical stuff here and there, and just a lot of great inputs, etc., and people helping each other. I was afraid that we were gonna lose it after we hit like 10M market cap and then 20 and then the next, but surprisingly it has not been the case. The community just kept being amazing. I love being part of the community. I love the community. It fuels me. It fuels the team, and I even if people can copy our tokenomics, copy our source code, copy our mobile app, and any other source code, they cannot copy our team. They cannot copy our community. I love it. I love the community so much. Huge shout out to them.
No, guys, that's great to hear. And I just want to let everybody at home know that anything said here was not financial advice. You know, ReFi is here just to provide information on their project. I definitely feel that you guys should do your own research, but these guys really do have something special going, so it's good to pay attention to them. And we hope to have you guys back once you guys hit that $1 billion market cap. And please keep us in the loop of what you guys are doing, and so we can keep our community in the loop as well. All right?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
it, guys.
Appreciate it, and you guys have a wonderful day. Good luck on the project, and we'll definitely be here rooting you guys on. And if we can do anything to help you guys be more successful, please just let us know and we'd be happy to do it. Okay.
Cheers.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.